I'm high on Kelsey Plum. People who have been tuned into the show and listening to me talk about the aces over the years and talk about Kelsey Plum. They should know I'm high on Kelsey Plum. I just think she has gotten so much more dynamic each year. She plays with such an energy, a pop. I just really respect her as a scorer in this league. And I think she's honestly a bit underrated from that standpoint. I think, I mentioned it before how it came up on our show with Treese, who covers the LA Sparks. They haven't averaged over 80 points a game in 5 years since they had Candace Parker and Simone Augustus and Chelsea Gray on the team. Chelsea Gray was the last kind of high profile, high octane level guard. And not even high octane, just like, I think she was the last like kind of great guard that the LA Sparks had. And I think Kelsey Plum comes in with this role where we're all excited about Rickea Jackson in year two and going forward. And we're excited about Cam Brink in year two coming back from injury. But Kelsey Plum can do things that Rickea won't be, not that she's not ready to do, but Kelsey Plum has been a high level scorer in this league already and has done and experienced some of the things that, Rickea has yet to experience, just as being like a leading scoring guard. And not only that, I think that we're going to see that LA needs Kelsey Plum to be scoring around 20 points a game to even look like their best selves. I've talked about how I'm interested to see how she balances the role of being, they have other point guards, but I think she's going to be the starting point guard. She's going to have the ball in her hands. So she's going to have some responsibilities of like playmaking versus scoring, as opposed to in Vegas, where really, not that all she had to do was score, but you're playing with Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, you're playing with other playmaking guards where a lot of her role sometimes was like, go out there and just get us a bucket, be that offensive spark for us. With the Sparks, I think she's an offensive spark, but she's also going to have to be the leader of that team. So Kelsey Plum being an MVP candidate, like, I mean, I think the obvious ones are going to be out there. Asia, Nafisa, Stewie are, our big three of the top three in the league. Caitlin will probably be in the mix there too. After that, it might be a little up in the air. And of course, this is dependent on how successful teams are, and the team has to be winning for you to be an MVP candidate. I think Kelsey Plum is going to have a really strong season, and that's going to turn into the Sparks having one of their better seasons in recent memory. And that is going to make her a deserving and understandable MVP candidate this season.
Hey, man, I can't get mad at that at all. She's going to be she's the best player on that team automatically. And like you said, a lot of the identity of what we expect to see from the Sparks, even when it comes to the development of Rickea Jackson, and how well even an Azari Stevens and a Ray Burrell look this season, it's going to be heavily dependent upon how well Kelsey Plum plays. It was no different than even, looking at what Dearica Hamby was doing for them last season. She had the best season of her career last year. And we were even talking about Dearica Hamby being an MVP, at least earlier on in the season. She was an MVP candidate as well. Kelsey Plum now, obviously being the lead guard, she's going to have a lot more impact on what the team looks like, a lot more impact on what the offense looks like, especially, right? And I would agree with you. I mean, if she's averaging, look, we love Asia, we love Nafisa. I don't know if Stewie will be an MVP conversation, but we love Stewie as well, right? Want to give love to Caitlin. Look, if the Sparks are a playoff team with a winning record and Kelsey Plum is out here averaging at least 20 points per game as you're predicting, how wouldn't she be the MVP? Do you know what I mean? Like that would be it would be different, but it would also be kind of comparable to what we were looking at from Dearica Hamby in that first part of the season when she was just going nuts and getting double doubles, left and right. And we were talking about before the All-Star break, hey, maybe she's top 10. Like maybe we need to give her a little bit more love there. And Kelsey Plum, again, I agree with you. I can't get mad at that. I think she'll, and plus, not that there's any animosity or anything like that, but she's going to have she's going to come out here with a point to prove this season. A little bit of a chip on her shoulder, bigger than normal because she's always got a chip on her shoulder, right? I think she'll want this season with LA to be impactful. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I definitely do think that Kelsey Plum can be an MVP candidate.
Just out of curiosity, what makes you think that Stewie will not be in the MVP conversation?
They, a couple reasons. I think the first thing, and it's not, it doesn't really have anything to do with Stewie herself. Because I think Stewie will have, I think she'll have a good season because she's that good. I just think though, I think other players are kind of, I guess, more uniquely positioned to kind of have a head start in the MVP narrative, so to speak, right? Caitlin Clark, there's a lot of people who thought that Caitlin Clark should have gotten more love in the MVP conversation last season. We've talked about how well those surrounding her. Caitlin Clark makes any massive jump between being, a one vote away from a unanimous rookie, if she wasn't a unanimous rookie, to, being one of the best players in the league. She's going to get a lot of love for MVP. Asia Wilson is Asia Wilson. It's hard to follow up a 1,000 point season, the first one we've ever seen. But if there's anyone that can do it, it's Asia. Because again, and you and I talked about this on the show. It's like usually when you're the MVP, it's your best season of your career. But Asia's like last 2 or 3 seasons have been better than the year before when she was either MVP or runner up for MVP. And then you take a look at Nafisa. We're going to play the clip in a second from us talking about her in February. Nafisa's a woman on a mission, bro. Like, she's clearly a woman on a mission. She's got a lot to prove. That finals loss stung a bit. Stung a lot. And she's got a point to prove. And I think she's starting to hit her stride and kind of get that respect that she deserves as being, the second best player in the league, probably. I think for Stewie, though, I think with what's happening with her leg, I don't think she's played in either of their 2 preseason games yet because she's still coming back from the injury. So I don't think that she'll, I'm not sure if she'll be playing next weekend or not when they open up against the Aces on Saturday. But just beyond that, I think Sabrina's going to have another good year. I think Jonquil Jones is obviously probably going to have to pick up a little bit of that slack as well. They don't have Betnijah Laney Hamilton this season, at least for all of the season, or a large chunk of it, or something to that effect. So I just think between Sabrina and Jonquil, I think they'll have to do a lot of the heavy lifting early on until Stewie's actually like fully healthy and able to play. And I think at that point, she'll just be behind the 8 ball unless she just has a really strong finish to the season. And some of these others that we've named kind of fall off a bit. So I think Stewie will still have a great year because she's Stewie. I just don't know if she'll be in the thick of it when it comes to the MVP conversation when we're winding down the season.